A unanimous decision today from the Supreme Court. All 9 justices ruled in favor of former President Donald Trump, keeping him on the ballot in Colorado. That decision coming a day ahead of Super Tuesday, when 16 states vote in the presidential primaries. Eyewitness News reporter Kemberly Richardson here now with more on the justices' decision and Trump's reaction. Kemberly?
Well, Sandra, right out of the gate, Trump calling this a very important decision that will go a long way towards bringing our country together. The former president had urged the justices to, quote, act swiftly and decisively and put an end to all efforts to get him thrown off ballots. And today, the Supreme Court did just that in Colorado, a move that will have a ripple effect. Critics were also quick to weigh in. New York Governor Kathy Hochul saying no matter which state ballot Trump appears on, he will be defeated. It was a historic decision. Donald Trump will remain on the ballot in all 50 states. The justices unanimously ruling states have zero authority to remove the former president from the 2024 presidential ballot. Instead, writing, the Constitution empowers Congress to prescribe how those determinations should be made. The move overturns a Colorado ruling that would have taken the Republican frontrunner off the ballot there on the eve of Super Tuesday. From Mar-a-Lago, Trump thanked the court for working, quote, so quickly and diligently.
I really do believe that will be a unifying factor because while most states were thrilled to have me, there were some that didn't, and they didn't want that for political reasons. They didn't want that because of poll numbers.
At the core of this case, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment that reads no one who has taken an oath to support the Constitution and then engaged in insurrection can hold public office afterwards. During oral arguments last month, both liberal and conservative justices signaled skepticism over Colorado's ruling.
I think that the question that you have to confront is why a single state should decide who gets to be president of the United States.
It doesn't seem like a state call.
Another monumental case in front of the justices, presidential immunity. Trump standing firm in his belief the commander-in-chief should have absolute immunity.
If a president doesn't have full immunity, you really don't have a president because nobody that is serving in that office will have the courage to make, in many cases, what would be the right decision, or it could be the wrong decision.
With the decision on ballots now in place, voting in Colorado and Maine will move ahead as planned tomorrow. New York Governor Kathy Hochul instead looking at this as a marathon rather than a sprint to the White House.
I admire the states that stepped up to try to implement based on their constitution, what their reading of it, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Donald Trump will lose.
And late this afternoon, Nikki Haley weighing in, insisting she will defeat Trump fair and square. However, adding, quote, we don't ever want some elected official in the state or anybody else saying who can and cannot be on the ballot. The former South Carolina governor continues to trail the former president by a wide margin.